could soon have a new spot to launch your boat over in Ocean Springs. The Board of Aldermen considering an agreement with USM to reopen that Halstead Research Lab boat launch for public use. If okayed, you could use it during daylight hours, Fridays through Sundays, starting on September 1st. This move comes after recent upgrades in that area. As part of the agreement, the Southern Miss Research Lab would have the right to suspend public use to accommodate any of their research vessels for education programs.